Turkey has had, and there's really little other way of putting it, Eve, has had a Kurdish problem for a while now. And it's living in a parallel universe when it comes to its perception of these Kurdish militias versus how the U.S. and members of the U.S.-led coalition see the Kurds. We've been saying this again and again. We just heard it in that report. To the Turks, these Kurdish militias, whether we're talking about the Syrian ones based in Syria, in this province that they're right now waging this campaign in, whether we're talking about a different Kurdish group, the PKK, the Kurdistan Workers' Party, which is based in southern Turkey, a different group, Turkey equates it all. It lumps them all together, and in Turkey's views and in official statements again and again, they are referred to all as linked up terrorist groups. To Turkey, they are terrorists. To Turkey, they must be eliminated. Now, this might seem paradoxical. You'll hear Erdogan and other Turks say, we have nothing against the Kurds. We're simply targeting these Kurdish militias. Militias, which, as we just heard, are also very effective fighters alongside the U.S. in driving back the Islamic State group, have practically vanquished that group on the ground. Look, this campaign began in August of 2016. We already had a military operation launched by Turkey where there was an incursion across the border into northern Syria, into the region now in between Afrin and another one to the east, where they basically were repelling Islamic State fighters and at the same time trying to eliminate and push back the Kurdish militias, this group. They have controlled, and Syrian fighters have controlled, that central zone along its northern border. What they haven't controlled, this was an 8-month campaign, the one they launched in 2016. What had eluded their grasp was to the west and to the east, the west being the Afrin area, and then Manbij, which is to the east, which is now most likely going to be the target of the next Turkish military offensive. What does Turkey want to do? Simple. They just want to get back control by pushing back these Kurdish militias of that entire northern strip. They want a contiguous area of their own control.
But of course, in the war in Syria, we've seen Turkey align themselves with the rebels against Assad and indeed against Russia. So surely this will have an effect.
Look, you know, how can you make an already almost impossibly complicated situation even more complicated and even harder to figure out and discern? We know that Turkey spoke to Russia last week. Turkish military and intelligence officials flew on a lightning-quick mission to Moscow, consulting with the high Russian military brass. Can we do this? They needed Russia's blessing because, A, Russia had troops actually on the ground in that enclave that the Turkish offensive is now taking place in. Plus, the Russians control the skies, essentially over that entire region where the Turkish planes were bombing on were striking on Saturday. They needed Russia's blessing. Did they get it? Well, what we know is whatever the Russians said, yay or nay, go ahead and do this. We did see the Russians say that they were pulling back their troops from that region, pulling them out of that area, and it seems at least that they've given a sort of implicit green light. Why are they doing this? Perhaps Russia's playing a double game here by giving Turkey the green light to go ahead and do what they need to do. Do it quickly, though, Turkey. We're not going to let you keep going, doing this for weeks and months. Quickly, get it over with. We'll let you do it. Perhaps it's slightly in Russia's interest to play all sides, driving that wedge between Turkey and that Western-led, U.S.-led coalition. Russia knows that whatever Turkey is doing in that area right now is making the U.S. not just furious, but almost hopping mad. We had Rex Tillerson on the phone with his Russian-Turkish counterparts over the weekend, expressing in diplomatic language concern. I suspect that there were slightly sharper emotions than that. Russia knows that right now relations are very strained between Turkey and the U.S., and perhaps that accommodates Russia for the time being. Bottom line, more strife, more complication, no end yet to the Syrian conflict.